I made a video a couple of months ago on the going price of CAT tools sold to freelance translators. I shortlisted 4 tools: memoQ Translator Pro, SDL Trados Studio 2011, Déjà X2 Professional, and Wordfast. Pros.com had a Translator Group Buying campaign on 3 of the 4. Now, there was a new TGB going on in late March, early April 2012, in which all 4 tools took part. So let's have a look at the deals and how each tool fared in terms of sales. Let's start with Studio 2011. SDL claimed to offer up to 40% of the list price, but it's really 35% as the list price is €845 and the net price is €549. A 1-year Pros.com membership was also thrown in. SDL managed to sell 127 copies of Studio. Now let's have a look at memoQ. Kilgrey labeled their deal as gigantic spring discount. Well, it's really the same deal as last time. 40% of the list price of €620, which gives a net price of €372. At least they got their math right. The discount is really 40%. A 1-year Pros.com membership was also thrown in. Kilgrey managed to sell 126 copies of memoQ, just 1 less than SDL. Atrill offered the largest discount, 50% off their list price of €690, giving a net price of €345 for the professional edition of Déjà X2. Unlike SDL and Kilgrey, Atrill did not include a Pros.com membership in the deal. They sold 17 copies of Déjà Vu. Wordfast had 3 separate deals for Wordfast Pro, Wordfast Classic and Wordfast Studio, which is Pro and Classic bundled together. Classic and Pro were offered for €325, only €25 off the list price of €350. Wordfast Studio was offered for €485, only €15 off the list price of €500. On the other hand, 3 hours worth of online training was thrown in, as well as a 1-year Pros.com membership. Wordfast only sold 14 copies of their products. Now let's compare sales in this TGB with the previous one of 2 months ago. Back then, SDL sold 95 copies of Studio, Kilgrey 128 copies of memoQ, and Atrill 30 copies of Déjà Vu. Wordfast didn't have a deal in that TGB. So this confirms a trend observed in previous TGB campaigns. SDL Trados Studio and memoQ are the top sellers, with Déjà Vu and Wordfast lagging far behind. What can we learn from these results? Well, SDL is the market leader and they sell accordingly. In spite of being the most expensive tool of the lot, they managed to sell lots of copies of Studio. They certainly benefit from their traditional position as the most common tool used by translation companies, and many translators feel obliged to have Trados in order to get work from agencies. memoQ has emerged as the main alternative to SDL's product. Its foothold in translation companies is not as strong as SDL's, but memoQ certainly benefits from word of mouth. Existing users are recommending it to colleagues. 10 years ago, Déjà Vu was the main alternative to Trados. Now, it looks like they have become a marginal player, in spite of a brand new version released 1 year ago and some very aggressive pricing. Déjà Vu still has a strong following among its existing users, but it fails to attract new ones. Wordfast usually doesn't perform well in TGBs. They offer a much smaller discount than their competitors and probably think they are better off selling their products at the list price on their own web store. And let's not forget that Wordfast has a permanent 50% discount that applies to large parts of the world, such as South America, Eastern Europe, Africa, and most of Asia. For people living in these regions, the discount rate is much more attractive than the TGB deals on Pros.com. Now, do you agree with my conclusions? Let me know in the comments area down below. Thank you for watching. Do hit the like button if you found this video useful. Subscribe to my channel for more similar content, and see you in the next video.